Hi, my name is Amy. Thank you very much for watching, and let's make some bad financial decisions together. This is for entertainment purposes only, so if you're entertained, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. So, Gary asked if we could go over NVYY because it was getting really hammered last week. So, sure, why not? So this is YieldMight, and this is the website that I created. And what I did was when I first went on here, we can refresh this. We can go to the underlyings, and this is in alphabetical order, so you can just check NVDA. So we can see that for Nvidia related ETFs that are high income, we have NV2, NVYY, NVDW, and NVDY. So there's 4 choices. And before we really talk about which of these high income ETFs are the best, let's talk about Nvidia itself, because when you invest in one of these, you're actually saying, I am bullish on the underlying. It could mean that you own some Nvidia, but you need some income, so you're using this as a proxy for doing your own cover calls. So I asked Perplexity. I really like that they give you the sources that they use so you can look yourself. But Nvidia does have a really large part of the market. They are the number one AI chip maker right now. They have a brand loyalty. They have really strong profit margins. They're a really good company right now. And then I asked, why shouldn't I invest in Nvidia? And there are concerns about overvaluation, but overvaluation is just sticker shock. It doesn't really mean that it's going to pull back anytime soon. There's high volatility, which is not a bad thing as an income investor. When there's higher implied volatility, we get paid more because the premiums are more. So that's actually a good thing. And then there's regulatory and macroeconomic things and concentration risks. So I don't know why they said low dividend. There's no Nvidia dividend. So, and then people are concerned about the peak hype of AI. But semiconductors has a cycle, and their cycles are about 4 to 6 years long. So this cycle, the upstart of it, started in 2023. So if this cycle reflects past cycles, we still have another year of it being really strong. We are in the early to mid upcycle, which lasts a year or two, but then we have a peak, and then usually what happens with semiconductors is there's a major pullback, like a 50% pullback, like devastating pullback. And then it has a year or two of being total trash, and then they come out with the next chip. And the reason, at least that I think that there's a 5 to 6 year gap, is that companies will use a lot of money to invest in these kind of infrastructure chip things, but then they have to use it for 5 or 6 years to get their money's worth out of it. And then, so businesses have a schedule for deprecation. So 5 years is usually when this cutting edge tech is no longer cutting edge. And so businesses then start a new cycle of wanting to buy the new thing. And now with AI and everything, if your competitor has their 6-year cycle of buying chips, and then they get a boost with these chips and they're able to be more efficient, then you don't want to get left behind. So basically all the businesses renew their equipment at the same time. At least that's my impression of what's happening. But maybe it just takes that long to come up with innovations. I've read that every year they become more and more efficient with this type of technology. And it's, it's not that it's a fact, it's just that there's a lot of research and there's a lot of incentive for there to be research and development in this area. So whether or not AI winds up actually changing the world, or is it something that we use to aid our jobs, there's still going to be demand for semiconductor microchips. So my opinion of NVIDIA is that I kind of forgot about it after it didn't have 100% distribution, but I do still have NVIDIA. Well, I don't have NVIDIA, but I have, in my retirement account, I do have the NVIDIA let me just show you because I'm not saying this correctly. I still believe in AI. I still believe in these semiconductor things. In my individual account, I have NVYY from Granite Shares, probably because they don't have PLTY. Well, they do have. They don't have PYY. They don't have Palantir Granite Shares. So I have in my individual account, which is way over leveraged, I have 30% is in Ulti, around 10% is in gold, then around 12% is in NVYY, isn't it? Yeah, it's 12% is in NV in this. And then I have Palantir, which I personally, and this is my personal opinion, this is not financial advice, I believe in, the Bitcoin stuff. This is my MicroStrategy. This is my mixed martial arts Bitcoin stuff, Mara, Bitcoin itself, and then I have my AI and semiconductor bets, which are GPTY, CHPY, Palantir, Nvidia, and then AMD. So AMD just has more room to grow than Nvidia, and so that's why I've been more excited about investing more into AMD than Nvidia lately. But Nvidia is more like you invest in Google because you think it's going to go up steadily over time, and it has a predictable distribution. So I think it will participate in that cycle where it will go down a lot, but I think in the future, like 10 years from now, Nvidia will be more expensive than it is right now. So I just think Nvidia is a good company in general, which is why I don't mind being in the single stock ETF for it. Anyways, that's like almost 10 minutes of me explaining that I still think Nvidia is worth investing in. Let's look at these total returns because NVDY and NVYY, this is from May of this year, and NVDY would have had more than NVYY from May of this year. And the reason for that is because there was that sudden downturn in early September, and Granite Shares Yield Boost is not leveraged, but they sell puts on leveraged funds. So when it goes down, it's a leveraged down. So the NAV for NVYY went down. So then if we did NVDY, NVYY, and NV2, NV2 would have the most total return from May of this year. And that's because it's leveraged. I mean, it's leveraged and it pays the dividends more often than NVDY, so you can use the distributions to buy the dip and to increase your position. So NV2 just, I think that's just I want to say it's just, let me actually go, because NVDW is just the 1.2 times leverage. This has half of it is in actual Nvidia and half of it is in a cover call strategy. So it has 105 to 150% leverage. So when it's going down, they shoot for less. That way they don't go down as much. So there's that. And so we went over just the three of them for May, and then I was just trying different, well, this has NVDY, NVYY, NV2, NVDW, and Chippy, because I think that if you cannot make up your mind but you want to be in the semiconductor space, that Chippy might be your best option. That way you're getting less distributions, but you're in more companies, so it's more like an index, although it's not an index, but it's like it's just a basket of stocks. Anyways, so it looks here that NV2 has more than NVDW as total returns, but I wouldn't be unhappy being in either one of these, because from May of this year, you would have 13,700 or 13,500 versus if you were in NVDY, it would be 12,600. So I think that if there was a prolonged down market, or if Nvidia was flat for a long time, that NVDY would have more of a chance to shine. So anyways, this is the one where I just did it September 2nd to September 5th, which was last week. And you can see here that Chippy did the best for the total returns from that time, because Chippy is a combination of multiple stocks. So it wasn't just Nvidia was having a bad week, so the entire thing is down. Other than that, NVDY actually had the most return because it's not leveraged. NVYY is also not leveraged, but it sells puts on a leveraged stock. And then NV2 is leveraged and NVDW is leveraged. So in a down market, when it's down, NVDY will do relatively better. I mean, it didn't do good, but it just did relatively better because it wasn't leveraged or related to leverage. But I think for me, if you want to have a balance, maybe have Chippy be the most of your semiconductors, and then just have whatever over leverage you want on Nvidia, then go out and do that. I would personally just have all four of these and just use it to just keep cycling through the money so that your distributions keep getting compounded more often. And that's what I would do. But I think I do ignore the news and the noise a lot, because if you look out just a little bit further in, weeks and months and years, a short-term price fluctuating in Nvidia during a month that historically doesn't have, it's usually a crap month in the market anyways, is really nothing to be concerned about. Nothing fundamentally has changed for Nvidia. There's been no fundamental change in a regulation. So just enjoy buying the dip while the market is a little soft, and then hopefully later this year we can have just more bull run. But either way, I think that it's worth looking at NVDY and all of these semiconductors and just making sure that you understand what the risks are and you are prepared with hedging or whatever you're doing, that if tomorrow it goes down by 50%, like what are you going to do with your portfolio? So thank you, Padraic Spalding, BGP Automotive, in my opinion, Abdullah, Jeddah, and Omega Werewolf X for supporting me and making your bad financial decisions together with me. I really appreciate you and your support that you have for me. And today in Financial Philharmonics, we have Gooey Goo Goop, and it's just like a silly pop song because today at 4:30, I am going to discuss these 3 tickers with the Income Architect, Brad, and Max Convexity. So anyways, hopefully I'll see you there. Are you still in NVIDIA related high income ETFs, or have you moved on to other things? And I'll talk to you all later. Bye.